Welcome to Recently Logged, where we're now just a Hamish Linklater fan cast.
It's midnight.
The midnight mass, Micah. They're having mass at midnight.
That's pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy, isn't it?
I don't think anybody's ever done that one before.
Well, hello guys. We're recently logged. I'm Robbie,
And I'm Micah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
we talk about the movies, but not this time.
We're making the movie.
But not this time because we're talking about the limited series.
It's just a long movie.
Which is
guys.
just a 7.5 hour movie in reality.
Which, if they weren't cowards, they would have just released it as a 7.5 hour movie. We watched it all at once, back to back.
You literally wouldn't have to change anything. You just take out the cut to credits at the end. You can literally just cut to the title card chapters and call it a day.
Because we watched them back to back, or like literally only like 1 20-minute break in between.
Yeah, but yeah, we're talking about Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass.
It's a horror.
It's the spooky.
thingy.
It's spooky season.
Spooky season.
It's like 3 days till my birthday, which means spooky season.
Is your birthday that scary, Mike?
Yeah, it's that scary.
In an existential sense.
In an existential sense, that October just becomes spooky season.
October,
when my birthday rolls around.
So is April spooky season for me?
No.
Okay. Whatever you say, Micah.
But yeah, Midnight Mass, Netflix original limited series.
Indeed. Mike Flanagan.
Flanagan.
You may know him.
He directed stuff
Probably not
like,
personally.
The Haunting limited series. Those are pretty well known.
I think series, yeah, is just plural.
So yeah, he did The Haunting of Hill House and of Bly Manor.
Yes.
He directed Dr. Sleep
Dr.
with
Sleep.
Ewan McGregor.
Dr. Sleep, indeed. The Shining sequel thingy.
So I was excited to finally see something by him because I had actually never seen
Yeah,
any
I
of
was
his
about to say,
stuff.
this is our first Mike Flanagan thing, which Flanagan is a kind of dorky last name, but also kind of a cool last name. I don't know.
But he did Oculus.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Oculus, actually. But anyway, Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass, that's what we're talking about. Let's get into the basic facts, the stuff you need to know about it, Micah.
Yeah. All right. So Midnight Mass, as we established, is a Netflix original TV miniseries.
Yes.
It came out in 2021, like a couple weeks ago.
I was about to say it came out like a few weeks ago, as of
rated
recording.
TV Ma.
TV Ma. Wow.
And it is 7 hours and 30 minutes.
7 hours?
Featuring 7 episodes.
That's crazy.
Whoa. It's cast... Here, Abby, since you mentioned cast earlier, why don't you do the cast?
Okay. Zack Gifford is the top build, and then Hamish Linklater, second build. Very much like his performance in this. But we're going to get to that later. Kate Siegel, Annabeth Gish, Michael Trucco, or Trucco, I'm not sure. Samantha Sloan, or Sloyan? I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Henry Thomas, and a bunch of other people as well. I don't know. I usually, in the episode description, do like the top 6 or whatever.
The little IMDb description is: an isolated island community experiences miraculous events and frightening omens after they arrival. Oh yeah, that does say arrival.
Yes.
Of a
Yes.
charismatic and mysterious young priest.
Wow, it's a lot of adjectives. Okay.
It is written and directed by Mike Flanagan.
Really? I thought I had a credited, like a different credited writer.
Well, he writes for most of the episodes. He doesn't write every episode.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't think he was like the sole writer of the show.
Two,
Joyce Sherry.
Joe
And Teresa
Sherry.
Sutherland?
Yeah, they both wrote it with him, but he's credited as a writer on every episode.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go.
But yeah, that's Midnight Mass.
It is, Micah. How'd you know?
pretty crazy.
Well, I guess now we can get into what we thought about it, Micah.
No, not our opinion.
Not the opinion, no.
No.
So Micah,
Yes.
what did you think of the limited series Midnight Mass?
What did I think of the
Non-spoilers, Micah. I figured
Okay.
opening thoughts will do a non-spoiler thing, but as soon as we get into the main discussion, it'll probably have spoilers.
All right, I can do that.
All right.
So when
so at the end, it was pretty crazy.
oh
Wow.
yeah, no. So Midnight Mass, I was expecting something different, I guess. Like, I don't know. I had very interesting expectations going into this. Him having directed what he had directed. I've never seen any of his work prior to this, but I just didn't know what to expect out of like a weird religious horror Midnight Mass Catholic weirdness thing.
I had no idea it was going to be a horror show.
He didn't know it was a horror show, which I thought was funny.
It was just going to be like a drama, like a religious drama.
I thought it was funny, but this show like very much surprised me with how much it takes care of its religious themes and its characters, and how much it actually mainly focuses on all of like its characters and its moments, and how well written all of that is. It's really, really well written, and because of its time frame, it has the time to do like these mass, like scaled character stuff. And it's just really impressive, and I really, really like it for that. It also just has a cool aesthetic. The cast is outstanding. The story is fun. Even though it's like, yeah, it's pretty easy to see the end coming, it's still really cool and satisfying to watch. The only elements that I don't like about it, I'll probably have to get into some with spoilers, but there are like a couple things here and there, some with the pacing in the beginning. But like other than that, like I just really like this. It's beautiful looking, the music is great, the cast is great, the story is super impressive. Like I don't know what's not to like.
Yeah, it's crazy because I haven't actually seen like any overwhelmingly negative reviews of this yet.
Right?
And I know a lot of people who have seen it, and most people love it.
I've seen one negative review.
Oh no, Mike!
And it was that article that Houston retweeted.
I'm an atheist, and I watched
Midnight Mass, and that the horror was supposed to be a relief from religion.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But anyway, Midnight Mass, I very much enjoyed it. As I said, I kind of didn't know a single thing about it going into it, and I think that's how everyone should experience it. I believe that, Micah.
I think that's just so funny. Like, if you see, like, Netflix plasters their trailers everywhere.
Micah, I never watched the trailer.
And like, look at the poster.
I mean, yeah, the poster looks a little spooky, but they're having a mass at midnight. What do you expect?
Out September, October.
Okay, well, you know what? Just because I didn't pick up on the signals does not mean... I enjoyed not knowing that it was going to be a horror thing.
Did you
because
ever even read the description?
Then the horror elements, like when they came in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And they would have been cool regardless, but still.
When the cats showed up, Robbie's mind was blown.
Yeah, no, I literally, when they went on the little island thing, I'm like, this is a little spooky. Ooh. And I'm like, oh wait.
Some kind of albatross.
But yeah, what did I think of Midnight Mass on the whole? I very much enjoyed it. It's definitely been my favorite piece of media released in 2021 so far. That's by quite a bit. I don't know. It does a really good job of handling its large-scale character stuff, similar to how something like Battle Royale does it, but like stretched to 7 hours. And yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. Its atmosphere is great. The performances, like the main cast is amazing.
The main cast
for this
is outstanding.
I don't know what else to say about it. Like, it's well directed, well shot. The sound design is really good. The score is great. The way it utilizes music is really great. The way it handles all of its religious themes and stuff is also really great, and it manages to maintain its entertainment value for 7 hours.
And like 7 hours of a lot of monologue.
I
A
know.
lot of people have made fun of it for this, and it's
monologues.
very easy to do. But like it doesn't seem like it should work, but it works so well in the show because 90% of the show is just people giving long emotional monologues to each other.
I was about to say, in a similar way to how Zodiac is just like long blocks of text kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's kind
exactly.
of like that, but it's instead of like Zodiac is more conversational than this is a lot of the time. It's funny though. They work though, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
really
I think
like
it works really well.
Because, like I said, they have a really talented main cast, so it doesn't come off as like boring or just dry.
Imagine if this is like the CW get this script.
Oh my gosh!
And they cast
If it like you change nothing about the script, but if you had a like anyone
just a not good cast.
even if it was just like a fine cast, a mediocre cast, it would be so boring. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Very much want to watch it again. We rewatched the first 3 episodes yesterday in preparation for this, so
yeah,
it's good stuff.
it's like 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, and like just to add it on there, Hamish Linklater is playing like 3D chess with his
Bro, what is up with that? He
his performances.
He is killing it.
Is one of my favorite performances I've seen in anything in a long time.
I would legitimately just like go to church just to hear him do one of the monologues and call it a day.
He's so good.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get into the actual meat now that you know our basic thoughts about it.
Spoiler
Our
time,
opening thoughts
baby.
about it, if you will. The spoiler time. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we'll see you there. Alrighty, Micah, do you have a question to kick us off?
Spoilies.
The spoilers.
Spoilers.
The spoilies.
I just wanted to say one thing when we started, though, but it is very spoilery.
Okay, if you don't want to have Midnight Mass spoiled for you, don't listen to the podcast anymore. Unsubscribe.
This is because this was like a thing that I didn't think would come up in questions very easily, but I did actually legitimately want to mention it.
Okay.
As a spoilers vampire series, essentially.
It is. No, it is.
It's very. I think this is one of the coolest uses of like a vampire idea, a vampire concept in any piece of media I've seen.
Oh, definitely.
Taking a vampire and like having it discovered by like an out of his mind priest. that's like so cool.
Yeah, no, it is.
And like the way they use it on like the small island and the way it all progresses with like the super specific type of like
oh
really
my gosh.
self-righteous like Christian kind of thing to get like a vampire story with is like actually one of just the coolest ideas I've ever
Yeah, I was about to say, other than something like Hotel Transylvania, you got a vampire running a hotel for monsters. I think that's pretty cool.
But just something too, I forgot to mention this. I looked it up, and I think this is like loosely based on another story by the same name.
It kind of seems like its logic is based
Like,
on Midnight Mass.
There's a
the
book called Midnight Mass, in which it's about vampires taking over like the world, and then somebody brings like, and I didn't say this to Robbie, but it's cowboys. Cowboys bring vampires to this tiny island where there's this
the cowboys find
where
the
there's
vampire.
this drunk priest. Well, they're called cowboys. Apparently, they round up humans for the vampires to eat.
That's funny.
But like in concept, it seems to be like somewhat similar. So I assume that this version of Midnight Mass was slightly inspired.
Yeah, it's probably a loose adaptation of it. That's kind of cool though. Literary adaptations are always odd because like usually for stuff like this anyway, in this vein where it doesn't like it's not a adaptation of it directly. It's interesting what elements they grab from it.
Especially with how weird Midnight Mass the book seems to be.
Yeah, cowboys? Okay, but tell me Midnight Mass, the only thing holding it back from being 5 stars is the fact that the vampire isn't Gary Oldman. It's all I'm saying.
Okay, but legitimately, I do think the vampire design is kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I get I feel like they should have leaned more into like
You wanted him to be
angel-y.
You wanted him to be more like gothic vampire than
Like even I want to like even that or like with how the show is going, like make him like a biblical angel.
I mean, that would, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Actually, when the angel shows up, well, angel, quote unquote, shows up in the church, I was like, if they had read the description of angels in the Bible, they would be
Doesn't look like a gargoyle, man.
They don't look like freaking gargoyles in a PS2 game. Come on.
That's what he looks like.
But yeah, I agree.
It's not like a huge complaint. I just was kind of saddened by the final like full on-screen reveal of him, and he just kind of looks like a gray tall man with wings.
Yeah, he looks like a Game of Thrones thing or something, like just kind of boring. But yeah,
it doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't.
Not even on like a effects level.
No, I was about to say I was gonna comment on the fact that the effects actually look pretty good on
No,
them.
the visual effects throughout the show look really good, actually.
Except for the one seagull, Micah.
No, I didn't say it looked bad. I just said it was clearly not a real seagull.
Okay. It looked pretty real to me, Micah.
Exactly. It's a good seagull.
All right. Well,
Okay, do you have any questions?
I do have a question for you, Micah.
You have a question?
For
me?
Do you have a favorite episode?
Do I
figured
have
kick us
a
off.
favorite episode? I was actually going to look at the episode listing.
Okay. Well, you got Genesis.
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. I really liked Acts of the Apostles.
Okay, that is a fun one.
I liked... I feel like the latter half of the show ends up being my favorite.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Gospel...
that makes sense.
I feel like Gospel was like really good too.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this show is really good because we just rewatched Genesis, Psalms, and most of Proverbs.
Yeah.
And those 3 episodes are really good. Like there's some great setup going on, and like the early stages of all of like the Father Paul stuff is great.
Indeed. I agree.
So I think I would say I really like Proverbs and Lamentations too. All of them.
Mike is like, I like all of them.
Revelation was good. Yeah. But I don't know. It's so hard to pick a favorite. Do you have a favorite?
I do, and it kind of seems like a cop out, but I was gonna pick Revelation as my favorite,
Yeah,
just because
Revelation
it's
is so
such a good catharsis for the whole show.
It is. It really is. But like, I don't know. There's
It feels kind of cheap, you know.
There's a lot that I really like in the other ones too. Like I feel like it's the least sinister feeling of any of them, I will say.
What, Revelation?
Yeah.
I suppose so.
And I think that's why I might lean more towards Acts of the Apostles, because it's the last time in the show they really get to feel super sinister.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
I think it actively has the creepiest, most disturbing stuff in the show, which I wanted more of.
Yeah. No,
So,
I get that.
I think I would probably gun to my head, Acts of the Apostles.
Solid pick. I respect it. Do you have a question that you wanted to do, Micah?
Do I have a question?
Wow.
What do you think of technical main character Riley Mann?
As I said before, I think the main cast of this is really great. I think he gives kind of an understated performance, and I really enjoyed it, even though he kind of has a punchable looking face.
He does have a punchable looking face.
What do I think of him as a character?
Yeah, like, what do you think of his use as a character? Because I do think it's rather unique.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting story to tell in like general, just because of how like sprawling it is, and the fact that they do kind of give us a central character is interesting because they didn't necessarily have to, but they gave it to Riley, I think, because he's really like the thesis center of the story, and he also kind of jumpstarts the plot in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah,
he's a good vessel for the audience to experience everything through, because he hasn't been to the island in like a few years, so it's a good excuse to give exposition and have character stuff start to rekindle with other people on the island.
He is as close as you could be to an audience stand-in.
Exactly.
For the very fact that like he hasn't even been to the island in a while.
Yeah.
He's an atheist, and as you would assume for like a lot of
Yes.
the viewers of this, like no, I'm saying that he's the most blank slate. He's the one who's asking the questions that end up leading to like you said, like
Exactly.
the whole show.
Yeah, exactly.
And because he hasn't been on the island, but it's familiar to him. Familiar to him.
Yes.
It leaves a lot of nice, easy segues for exposition that are like natural feeling.
Like I said, a lot of the exposition was a nice touch, and it really, like I said, it's a good excuse to jumpstart a lot of character growth on the island, because like obviously getting someone who used to live there back is gonna stir up stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like
It's a good way to catalyze the plot, is all we're saying.
what do you think of the fact though? Because like this is one of the big things I wanted to mention with his character. What do you think of the fact that he like dies a good bit before the final, like the finale of the show? I don't even. Is he alive in Acts of the Apostles?
I thought he dies in Acts of the Apostles, doesn't
I don't think so.
No?
Because no, the end of Acts of the Apostles is at
Oh,
Mass.
right. Yeah.
Is at the midnight mass.
What do I think of where his death is in the show? I
Yeah,
think
what do you think of the use of his death as a character? Like, because that's what I think was most interesting about him as a quote main character, is that like a good like 2 episodes before the end, he's dead.
I think it's kind of interesting. I hadn't given it much thought actually, because obviously like his character was done growing, and that like he had gotten his piece and whatnot.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I don't really know if I have a opinion on it really. What do you think about it, Mike?
I mean, I agree. I thought it was just an interesting choice, but I think it leaves the finale of the show in an interesting spot. And it's actually one of the criticisms I'll have of the show.
Okay.
Is that dropping him as a main character, like killing him off essentially, was a good, like I think it was a good decision. I think it's a great catalyst for the end.
Yes, it is.
But at the same time, I think they should have had to change something up about the way the end of the story was presented for it to really work as well for me. Because I think that's one of my biggest problems with the show, is that the ending stuff, the way it's presented on a filmmaking and story writing level, is not how I would want it to be. Like, it's just
Really?
not as together in the way that I'd want it to be. I want it to be a more like grandiose thing for everybody involved, and yet most of the time it's just not.
That's true. It doesn't feel very grand.
And you lose your main grounded characters. So now you're following essentially the 3 non-insane female side characters, and like they're fine, but it's just not the same from a character storytelling standpoint, and it kind of leaves me with a not as good of a taste in my mouth as I would prefer.
You know, I actually think that that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about it up till now. Because it makes complete sense from the fact that his arc was over. Like,
yeah, no,
I was about to say, his character, exactly. Yeah, his character was done, but his role that he was serving as the kind of audience, like, bridge between us and the weirdness of the show, it just, once that's gone, we don't really have like a single person to just kind of hook into, you know?
Yeah, and as much as I even liked the chemistry between like the 3 female characters that we follow, like it just wasn't quite the same from a storytelling standpoint.
No, and it makes sense because the show initially gives us him to kind of latch onto.
Yeah, and like a lot of the stuff at the Midnight Mass.
The Midnight Mass trademark.
That was like, and I know I put this as like my favorite episode, like Acts of the Apostles, but like it was, and I do still really like it. Don't get me wrong, I still really like all of this stuff. It's just, but like just the way the filmmaking and writing specifically was pulled off for like, especially the mass scene was kind of sad to me. Not bad. Okay. I still really liked it.
Yeah,
but it just didn't quite work the way I wanted.
You know, I wondered. I had kind of had a big question mark as to why the final 2 episodes didn't seem to pack quite as much punch. They still had a lot of the like brilliant screenwriting stuff. A lot of the character work was still great. The performances were still great. And I was like kind of wondering, like, why does it feel a little less, it has like less of a oomph than the other ones? But I think that is wise.
Yeah, and
you're kind of losing your anchor.
And I think that's kind of not like, I think it's actually kind of a fault of the show in some extent, because when he does die, and like that scene, and when he gives the letters to everybody, and like the letter to Pruitt or Paul with the dust we shall return, Monsignor, like that moment was so sick. Like when he opens up the letter and it's like, we are all destined to dust we shall return, you're like, yes.
would have stood up and applauded.
And you have that like raw momentum that the show builds up with the death of his character.
Oh yeah.
But then we have 2 more
it very
episodes.
much feels like a climax. Yeah,
we have 2 more episodes.
And that's the thing,
and they're hour-long episodes.
I was about to say, you have 2 more hours after that. Like just the runtime of a whole nother movie after that. Interesting.
Which again, those 2 episodes I think are really good.
Oh man, they're 2 of the most beautiful episodes in the whole show.
But I think together as a show, it did like kind of disconnect a little bit for me.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest criticisms I have.
I'll agree with that. Well, there you go. There you go. That's all you need to know.
All we're done.
Everything else is perfect. Thank you, guys.
Do you have another question, though?
Yeah. Who was your favorite, in the main cast, who was your favorite, like, performer, actor, actress? I was just curious. There's a lot of good ones, though.
We've established this.
Oh, yeah, I guess we kind of already...
Mr. Reverend Pruitt, Father
Monsignor.
Paul Monsignor, sir, was like, his performance.
My goodness, man.
I cannot state enough how captivating he is.
I don't understand how he did it.
And I really do love, like, and that's the reason I wanted to watch the beginning of the show again, because, I mean, it's 7 hours, it's long, you kind of lose, and you want to rewatch some of the beginning to really get a lot of it.
I'll rephrase my question then. Why is his performance great, Mike?
So, like, when we watched the first 3 episodes and the introductions to his characters and stuff, like, you're just like... And, like, even when he's framed as 100% like a good guy, with just some like some shady practices or something.
Shady practices.
You don't know what he's doing. Like, obviously he frames him as shady.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting because the actor gives such a likable performance, such a caring, like, normal feeling performance. And it's so cool to watch the show, and that's what I think is one of the most cathartic parts of the show. And I will say it's one of my least favorite elements of the ending, which I keep criticizing the ending, but I think it is one of the only problems.
No, the ending is definitely where a lot of its problems shine through, unfortunately.
As much as I like the character a lot, I did feel like the kind of redemption thing at the end was kind of underwhelming. Obviously, he's not, like, he doesn't get redemption, but he feels like terrible for everything, and he's like, please forgive me, to his lover. Yes. Like, I felt that was kind of sad. I wanted him to fully commit, and I get what they were going for. I don't know, maybe I would just...
I was about to say, Micah, he's just disillusioned now.
Yeah, I know, he's disillusioned.
He wasn't evil.
He's not evil.
He wasn't acting with malice.
Bev takes that role.
Exactly, yeah. I was about to say, that's not his role that he plays in the entire, like, screenplay.
I just kind of wish he actually, like, probably would have, like, died or something while still being as disillusioned as he was.
But yeah, no, I was going to bring it up because having him be, like, someone who cares obviously so deeply about the island from, like, day one. Yeah, I think the choice of having it be, like, someone who has been on the island for, like, years and
longer
years,
than
like
anybody
decades.
else. They established pretty early on in the show that he was like Monsignor on the island from before most of them were born.
And it's such a brilliant stroke to me to have it be that way, because like now, even like if people found out, they would obviously trust him to an extent because they had known him for so long.
When the three people find out that it's, you know, Monsignor.
I was about to say, it would have been so like laughably unbelievable if he had people following him like from like
no, and it's
if it was just some random guy
and making him be like disillusioned like that is a brilliant moment of his character writing, because like again, he cares so much and he still is very convicted by what he believes personally. So you have these scenes, especially like later on.
That's what makes him so compelling,
when he's getting as hungry as he is and getting really in rough condition from that. Like how compelling watching him on screen, like even just like giving his sermon stuff.
Exactly.
How compelling that is watching him on screen. And even when he like kills and eats Joe.
Yeah.
Like that's such a compelling scene, even though you're like, oh, this is creepy. Because of the way his character is done, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, no, it's pretty great. He's got to be one of my favorite characters, just like ever.
And like
just the history of ever.
Shout out to the like his flashback confessional scene.
I was literally about to say that. I was like, can we talk about how great the confessional like exposition backstory stuff? Oh my gosh,
that's so
it's
good.
It's honestly some of my favorites. I could have just taken an entire movie of that.
And like I know it's such a small little detail, but the wood carving thing of like showing like that's
beautiful.
So cool. Like who just decided to do that? That's so cool.
Exactly.
Like, and it's so small. It hardly matters.
No, it wouldn't change anything if it wasn't there.
But it's so cool. And that's the sign of good film.
Just the fact that they're doing stuff because it's cool and it doesn't detract anything.
Exactly.
My goodness, man.
So as a question though, what do you think of kind of the beginning mystery side of it? Because it really does start itself out as kind of a mystery, contemplative horror.
Okay. What do I? How do I?
What do you think it handles its mystery? Like, because it introduces a lot of a lot of mysteries in the first two things.
I suppose so. There are a lot of question marks.
The dogs, the cats, the albatross.
A lot of animals. A mysteriously tall man.
Mysteriously tall man and on a beach in a fedora. Like sheriff man. Like, what do you think of all of that side of things?
I think I kind of like wanted it to feel a little more mysterious than it does in a lot of ways. It really just feels it's really a lot more focused on its characters than it is like the mystery side of it.
Yeah, because I put that in my review actually. It's like I wanted it to be very mystery. I wanted Joel from The Last of Us costume designed sheriff. And before you're like, what the heck is he talking about? According to Robbie, I'm getting my information.
Well, that was on the IMDb trivia page.
The creators, and you said the actor too.
Yeah,
right?
I was about to say the actor
they just
and
loved
the director.
Joel from The Last of Us, so they made his costume based, like his costume stuff based off of Joel.
Man, that guy's performance is so good too. But what did I think of the mystery? I think it's just mysterious enough to keep you like engaged, but not like it's obviously not the show's main concern.
Yeah.
It's way more focused on its character stuff, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does kind of leave me a little hungry for like something a bit more mysterious to be happening.
Yeah, I think the way it presents the whole show at the beginning mysteriously, but yet still doesn't really hardly want to be
I was about to say it kind of just seems like, oh yeah, there's something kind of mysterious. I wonder what's going to happen, and then it just kind of moves on.
But one of the things I was actually kind of disappointed about watching it too. Was just the fact of how underused the sheriff is. And he's not super underused. He's in a lot. He's got screen time.
He's one of the more prominent of the side character, quote unquote, characters.
But I feel like he was almost written in there, and I don't know. This may sound bad to somebody. I don't know.
Oh no.
But I feel like he was almost written in there just to be kind of a a tool in the story. Like, he was your Middle Eastern, different religion character of the story, just to have one. Because they underused his character development so much that he pretty much had, everybody on the island was racist and terrible towards him and his religion. But, like, there's not really much else there. He gives, like, the monologue about the whole after 9/11 thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, you don't really get to know him super duper well until after, like, in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, and that makes me sad.
Yeah.
It bothers me a little bit, because he was one of my favorite characters in the first couple episodes.
Exactly, he was great.
I wanted more of him, and his
vibes, Mike.
His scenes are really good.
Yes.
I love the scene with him in the school and Bev. That's a great scene. But I did feel kind of, like, weird about the character, too, because I felt like, to some extent, he was kind of there just to be your different religion, different race.
Yeah, no, he's definitely there. I think the reason it feels like that is just because he is so not very much used in the plot until the end. Like, I think he's written perfectly fine.
No, yeah.
But it just comes off like that because they don't put him into the story as much.
Which it plays into that kind of, I was already sad that there wasn't much of a mystery, and I wanted just, like, some background scenes. Give me, like, make it 8 hours. Make it 8 hours. And use that 30 minutes, only 30 minutes in total, to just give me some sheriff investigating scenes.
The 10 3-minute scenes, Micah?
Yes.
Scattered across?
Yes.
Go for it.
Just do that for me.
Man, that would have been pretty good, though. But yeah, like, there are other characters like that as well that just don't get as much time, like the one boat mechanic guy.
Yeah.
But, like, they're just not used as much until the finale.
And again, it's not even
I don't think they're underwritten.
problem.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's not really a problem as much as it is, like, it just kind of makes me sad.
Exactly. The characters are good enough that we just wanted to see more.
Exactly. Because, like, what it does, and I commend it for what it is, because it commits fully to kind of only focusing things around the specific stuff it wanted to tell. It's very well written, very good conflict.
I was about to say this could have been way longer if it wasn't as focused.
And I fully commend it for being as focused on that. It sacrifices some more horror elements it could have done, more grandiose elements it could have done, more mystery elements it could have done, and I would have loved all of those things. But it's not necessary. It's not for the story. That would just be for me.
I'm really looking forward to Hill House now because it's like a full-on horror movie.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, it's not a movie.
Well,
it's a limited series.
It's a long movie. Oh no.
But yeah, like these quote criticisms of mine really were just things because I think it's so good.
Exactly.
That I just wanted more of.
It leaves you hungry for more, but not always in a good way.
Yeah, not always in a good way, but on the whole a good way.
On the whole a good way. I said in my initial review on Letterboxd that I could have watched 7 more hours of it.
Right? And it went by so fast.
It really
did. We
did.
watched this like I said, we watched this all in one day. And that day went so fast.
Well, I mean, I didn't wake up till like 10:30 or something, so it makes sense. But...
Well, yeah, no, not like that side of things, but I'm saying like the show.
Yes.
Like it just breezed by. There was never any, even in the beginning when you feel a little bit.
I was about to say, I don't even remember like a lull in the show, really.
Even in the beginning, which is one of the reasons why you kind of feel like there needs to be some mystery, because that's kind of the catalyst for the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Even in the beginning when you kind of lose some of your mystery elements, it never feels boring. It never feels slow.
No. It's never boring.
Even on a rewatch, those first 3 episodes. In fact, I think they were probably more interesting on a rewatch.
No,
those
definitely.
First 3 episodes.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Because it is one of those shows where at the end of the day it does have a mystery twist thingy in it. So rewatching it is very cool.
Crazy.
I have another question though.
Right.
What do you think of the character of Bev Key?
Bev, she is really good, actually.
Right.
Like, it's one of those characters where, like, while they're on screen, like, you just want to punch them in the face.
No, I
but
think,
like in a good way.
yeah, I think I was gonna say I think she is one of like the most effective antagonists that Pure Flix movies need to take a note out of.
I know.
Make your antagonists this, not some random non-Christian character.
It's a good criticism of like what's wrong with Catholicism and the culture surrounding it.
And
Very
I,
much
and
like
I mean
that.
it's something that runs into Christianity as a whole,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
why it really resonates with me. I mean, if you didn't know, we're both Christians.
Didn't preface
and
the episode with saying that we're
pastors'
Christians.
kids.
Oh no.
But it is very interesting, having grown up in the church and everything, how accurate a lot of the criticisms of the church, even though I'm far from Catholic.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think we've been to a Catholic mass one time.
And I did not like it.
Yeah, no, not for me.
Yeah, exactly. Not for me. No major criticism of that. But like how accurate and how scarily accurate Bev of a character is.
Yikes.
Like what's her face says, it's a certain brand of self-righteousness.
My goodness, man. Bev in the final 2 episodes. Like I said, it's really a paradigm shift in the final 2 episodes. A lot of the characters that might have been more background really come to the forefront.
Yeah, no, it really is.
And she is fantastic
You take
in those.
Bev and why did I just lose her name?
Who?
Aaron.
Yes.
Bev and Aaron become the 2 main focuses, really, and
Yeah.
Riley's dead.
Well, it's because
And-
Aaron really kind of takes Riley's place in the show as like our main person.
Yeah. So Riley's dead, and then Monsignor is like, maybe I was wrong.
Maybe.
Maybe eating everybody wasn't the solution.
Don't worry, Micah. They come back.
But yeah, no, and I think that shift is really cool for Bev's character, especially because throughout the entire show, she is like the quote evil presence of the show. She stays bad the entire show.
Yes.
And that kind of escalation to, like you said, to the end is so cool for her character. Dude, I still love the what are you gonna do? Shoot me? I'm gonna get up in 5 minutes.
We have 5 minutes.
This show is so much fun too. I think that's kind of understated. It's a lot of fun.
No, it is. Yeah. I mean, the performances kind of lend themselves to that. Like, I think any movie with really great, like really fantastic performances is just so much fun to watch. Like, There Will Be Blood, I get so much enjoyment out of just because Daniel Day-Lewis is absolutely destroying the role. Like,
Daniel
killing
Day-Lewis,
it.
Midnight
He is
Mass, double
doing it.
feature, Rubby.
I honestly,
There Will Be Blood.
I
Midnight Mass,
honestly
double
almost
feature.
put it as a double feature on my. I'm making a double features list.
Your longest double feature.
That would easily. But I was like, you know what? It's not a feature length film.
It's not a feasible double feature
No.
either. Nobody's gonna do
No
that.
one's gonna do that. But just great performances with religious undertone movies. that's the
double
theme.
feature.
That's the double feature.
Also, just shout out to I guess like episode 2, I think it was.
I don't know which one you're talking
That had a flashback to like, or a flash forward, I should say, through one of Riley's dreams.
Yeah.
Of the church.
That might have
with
even been episode 1. I'm
with
not
the
sure.
blood all over.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was so sick on a rewatch.
Indeed.
I remembered it from the first thing, but I never pieced it together. But it's like the exact same shot, and that's so cool.
It was very, very cool.
Yeah, Riley's character, I actually am a really big fan of.
No, yeah, like I said, but like we've said many times,
for
it
some
really
reason-
prioritizes its characters.
For some reason, though, I'm gonna say this because I don't really have a whole lot
All
to
right,
back it up.
I'm gonna say.
But like discuss. I don't really like Erin's character that much. She's fine. It's a finely written character, but for some reason, I do not personally like Erin's character that much, and I don't know why.
I think it comes off as a little forced, a lot of the stuff that she does, just
Yeah.
because like Riley is kind of like the stand-in for the audience, and their relationship just seems kind of like we don't have the full like connection that he has to her, you know? I think it comes off just kind of...
It's like Tifa and Cloud in Final Fantasy.
Exactly, yeah. It just comes off like, oh, yeah, like, that's cool. Like, obviously we care, but, like, not as deeply as I wish I cared.
I said it's like Tifa and Cloud in Final Fantasy VII, and Remy's like, exactly.
No, well, not exactly, obviously. But a similar problem is probably what I'd cite as that. Because, like, I never found myself getting, like, super duper invested in her.
No, yeah, that's my thing, and that's like a lot of the things I've previously said about the ending not working as well can kind of be traced to me not really being as attached.
Yeah, I was about to say I never really found myself connecting to her. I connected to the doctor lady more.
Yeah, exactly. I would have rather her take the main place. But like, yeah, I wouldn't have minded if like Aaron would have died early.
I said I connected to the doctor lady. I didn't even remember her name.
I don't remember most of the names of the characters in this. There's Joe.
No,
Paul,
I literally
Riley.
just remember like Paul.
I had to look up Aaron
and Riley. That's it. Like that's literally the only two character names.
Bev.
See, I didn't even remember Bev. You had to tell me that, Mike. Yeah, no. But yeah, no, I definitely think that that's one of its problems, which, like I said, I mean, really all of the problems that you seem to have with it and that I seem to have with it come back to just that shift in the final two episodes. Not everything clicks totally, but it still works
it still
really well.
works extremely well, way better than you'd think it would.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does have like...
It lacks that oomph.
It's not quite perfectly written, which I think at 4.5 is I give it 4.5, I should say. And I think that's a very fair rating for it. I don't think I'd ever give it 5. But
no, I don't think I'd give
I think
it 5.
4 is too low for the...
See, I don't know. I was going between a 4 and a 4.5, but I'm like, you know what? It really handles its religious stuff really well.
But Ravi, you can't give it a 4 when Monsignor is here.
Yeah, exactly. That is really the performances that sent it over for me to a 9 instead of an 8. It's good stuff.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to add specifically? I'm trying to think of any other details, because that's actually like the main thing. Like I really like most of the show, and those are really the only problems I have with it.
Last thing that I was like wanting to discuss actively. What do you think of when it does dip into horror? How do you think it's handled in the show?
So, interesting point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I was about to say, we haven't really talked much about how it's like mostly a drama, but then it turns horror.
It's a quote horror show, right?
Yes. There is lots of horror stuff in it.
And
lots of horrifying stuff, Micah.
I will say, like I said, in like with the midnight mass scene itself, it doesn't go quite as horrifying in its filmmaking as I would like, but I do like, for the most part, throughout the rest of the show, how well it handles like all of its horror stuff in the side. Like, it's so well introduced into
that scene in the cave, Micah. The initial vampire scene. Good. Oh my gosh!
And dude, like the scene where Bull dies, and like there's like the horror up until that's and I think that's what bothers me about the midnight mass scene itself, is like you have this really good drama happening and kind of like a build up and you get these horror moments that are really cool, and you're like, yeah.
I was about to say, even the jump scares work so well in this.
Yeah, and you're like feeling yourself build up to the midnight mass, and it is still disturbing, like I wanted it to be. Obviously, especially when everybody like when people actively start to drink the murder juice.
The murder juice.
Well, it was the 1080 stuff.
The 1080
they
poison.
Actively start
no, drinking, I know what it was.
They actively start drinking poison. Like that's disturbing, but like at the same time, it wasn't quite as... I don't even know. Like, I know how I would have filmed that scene. I think like the midnight mass. No,
it's not hard for me to imagine a better version of the midnight mass sequence, but like I still think the one we got was pretty good.
Yeah, like I wanted something that would like play up, like be a big grandiose thing, a culmination. I wanted it to play up the gospel music. I wanted it to play up the filmmaking it had previously used in the church. That was one of my like they kind of. When all of it happened, they filmed it more from an Aaron perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of
what I think would have been smart filming it like they filmed all
Yeah,
the
I was
other
about to say,
church
if they'd used some of the cinematic language from previous church scenes, that would have been pretty cool.
and filmed it in that same is it irreverent or reverent? I don't remember.
I don't know.
That same kind of respectful way of the church filming it while all of these horrifying things are happening.
That would have been really dope, actually.
While like some loud gospel choir music was playing, and it did like I know I can picture exactly how I would have filmed this.
You just need to storyboard it and post it. That's all you need to do.
I think it would have been a little bit cooler, a little bit more effective, and a little bit more of a good, a grand shift to the end than what we get, which is played a little bit more like they wanted it to be more personally horrifying. Like they wanted to show it from a more human side.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
But I don't think that worked as well for me personally, because they film like from the audience, where the three of them are sitting and people around them start drinking poison, and like that's a cool element, kind of like that Cloverfield in your personal space kind of horror.
I was about to say, the fact that I found the most disturbing scene to be like the initial first kill with Monsignor in his little like house. That I found that scene way more disturbing than like the mass.
When he killed,
the midnight mass.
When he killed Joe, right?
Exactly. Yeah, when he killed Joe.
That scene is more disturbing.
I found that way more disturbing because it doesn't take
the
as
filmmaking
much.
Respects
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It seems to have more of a reverence towards it.
It knows that it's supposed to be like this big moment, and it's the first time you see Monsignor do something actively bad.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, it's great stuff.
Yeah, that's my only criticism of the horror element.
I was about to say, I think all of the nighttime stuff is really cool.
Yeah,
too.
is that I personally can picture something that I would like better for the final like midnight mass scene. And like with the title of the show being Midnight Mass,
just wanted it to be so much better.
Because like the stuff after it, I think is really well done too. Like the stuff with Bev kind of leading the charge of all of the zombie people. I mean the vampire people, and like even the scenes of them going around town and like killing everybody. I think that's really well done.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
And like kind of
agree.
That after moment of like even like them being like, I think I just ate my mom.
Yeah.
Like as goofy as that was, I actually really liked that stuff. I thought that was really cool, and how like they all kind of realized how horrifying the stuff they had just done was.
Yeah.
I thought that was sick. But at the same time, that kind of lead into all of that, I feel like it should have been like a big build and then explode into all of this. And then we wrap up at sunrise.
Yeah. Ah, man, that sunrise. It's top 10 sunrises in cinema, I think. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I still love the show. I hate talking about stuff on here that I like that I do have problems with, because I end up trying to find the specific problems, which is the point.
Yeah.
We're trying to criticize here. But like, I feel like it comes off like I don't like this, but I still really love this show.
I always like apologize at the end of every episode. I'm like, I feel like we just said a bunch of negative stuff about it, and we were like 9 out of 10.
But no, I really do love this. I think except for these, and at the end of the day, these are small things. Except for these small things, I think this show is pretty darn close to perfect.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I do think like it looks really visually appealing, and like the craft of the story weaving together.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Is what makes it so impressive at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's the same. Like I said, I brought up Battle Royale earlier. It just reminds me of that in a lot of ways, because just the sheer scale of the character work is very impressive.
Yeah, but I think I'm.
Yeah, no, that sounds good to me. Go watch Midnight Mass on Netflix.
Very good.
If you want to. If you're old enough to.
If you're old enough to.
We have mentioned that it is very disturbing. There's quite a bit of profanity in it as well, so heed our warnings.
But especially, like, from... And call me crazy here, but I do not agree with everything that it comes to a conclusion to religiously, obviously.
Well, yeah, no.
But I do think this is great for
essentially Christians to watch as a very solid criticism of
definitely.
religion in general.
No, I would say anyone
church.
who's come into contact with religion in a major way in their life should probably watch this.
Yeah, no, I think it's great for that. Again, I don't fully agree with its conclusion.
Yeah,
but
no,
I didn't go into it expecting.
Yeah, I wasn't going
That's
into
not
this
what I came for.
being like, oh, I can't wait to see my beliefs about the universe and the world affirmed on screen, baby.
Heck, it came a lot more around to like good religious discussion than I thought it would. I had no idea what the religious stuff in it was going to be like.
Oh man, it handles it so well. Good stuff.
But yeah, watch it.
Yeah. Good.
Very good.
Good thing.
Watch it all in one day.
Watch the good thing. I would recommend watching it all in one day if you can.
I feel like it would be kind of weird if we wouldn't have watched it all at once, right? Like when we stopped it, I was like, oh. When we were doing like the quote rewatch, we obviously weren't going to watch all 7.5 hours with how late we started.
Yeah, we started it like pretty late. But yeah, no, it's good. It is a good thing, and now we can move on with our lives.
Yes. I really hope they release this physically.
Yes.
I want to buy a physical, because they do some of like the Netflix originals with physical releases, like Stranger Things.
I was about to say, I have the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things.
I think the Haunting miniseries got their
I know at least
release.
Hill House has one.
So I'm hoping this gets one, because I will be buying it.
Yes, I will very much. I will buy this in a heartbeat. Good stuff.
But yeah, let's get into our What We Watched segment.
Let's do it.
All right, so the What We Watched segment, for those of you who don't know, is whence we go on to our Letterboxd, a social media platform for reviewing and logging films, and we talk about the things that we watched in between episodes.
What? That's crazy.
It's about the stuff we've recently logged.
If you can even believe it.
So we're starting at the 27th, since that was right after our Over the Garden Wall episode.
Indeed it was.
So, yeah, let's get into it. What did we watch, Remy?
We watched very first time after Over the Garden Wall. First thing was Stanley Kubrick's 1956 film, The Killing. Yes, The Killing.
Somebody died.
Somebody was killed, Micah.
Somebody was killed. It was fine. The filmmaking was all really good, but I didn't really like the movie itself. Like I felt like the movie wasn't really doing much of anything. It wasn't very effective as a noir to me.
Well, it's not really a noir.
Well, that kind of
I guess.
feel.
I mean, it is in a way, in a certain sense. I just appreciated how like cold and calculated it is. Like that's something kind of rare, especially for a 50s movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I gave it 3.5 because like the filmmaking is super solid and the cast does a really great job.
The editing's really good.
The editing's good. Like yeah, all that's good. I just didn't personally.
The ending too, Micah.
No, I didn't like the ending.
I loved the ending.
I didn't really like any moment of the story, which is why I didn't give it any higher.
It's got such a great sense of dramatic irony too, Micah. Like the entire film.
That's true.
It's great stuff. It's my least favorite Kubrick film that I've seen so far, but I still gave it a 9 out of 10.
Then I watched... Oh, wait, you watched something.
I watched something, Micah. Something rather spooky, if you will.
Scary.
I didn't realize how scary this was going to be, too. I watched The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Ichabod Crane.
Ichabod and Mr. Toad. It was a 40s Disney animated double feature thing. Very odd, very strange. The animation was really good. Some good slapstick here and there, but overall just kind of underwhelming in a lot of ways. The atmosphere was great, though. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Nice.
Indeed.
Then we watched, or rather rewatched, The Thing, John Carpenter's 1982 The Thing, which I accidentally purchased on 4K.
Mike's like, whoopsie daisy. I accidentally bought John Carpenter's The Thing in 4K.
I'm not complaining. I wanted it, but I didn't mean to purchase it at that moment.
Wow.
But it was only $8. And it looks slick in 4K.
Indeed it does.
I very much like this movie. Kind of love it. I gave it 4.5 stars.
One of my favorite horror movies, man.
It's not quite a 5-star for me.
I have a 5
but it is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Very good.
My goodness, man.
The cast.
You're gonna talk about atmosphere.
The atmosphere.
You take this.
And I will stand by. I saw this thing on Twitter that was like, it was an article posted by Screen Rant, I think,
Oh,
that
no.
was like top 15 movies without a single female character, and the only thing I thought of was the.
I mean, it is a great movie.
I told this to my girlfriend while I was watching it. I was like, I feel like there's no female characters, because if there were, then half the problems would go away.
Then people would be like, "Oh, wait a minute."
They wouldn't be absolute idiots.
It's kind of funny.
I gave it a 4.5. Very much like The Thing.
I gave it I already said 5 out of 5. Good, very good. One of my favorite horror films of all time.
And then what did you watch, Robbie?
Then I watched Fritz Lang's noir classic, the 1944 film The Woman in the Window.
Featuring a woman in a window.
Featuring the woman in the window, Micah. There she is. You can see it in the window right there.
She's right there.
She's in the window.
Robbie, what if it was all a dream?
I was about to say, spoilers for Fritz Lang's The Woman in the Window. It was all a dream.
The heck?
Yeah,
you have to put spoiler warnings on movies that came out in 1944.
This is a wild movie, man. Like, just weird. Definitely Fritz Lang's worst that I've seen. I adore You Only Live Once, and M is a masterpiece.
M is a masterpiece.
M stands for masterpiece.
You Only Live Once is kind of eh.
I loved You Only Live Once.
But M is a masterpiece.
Yeah, Woman in the Window just kind of comes off as, like, just a watered down version of a good Fritz Lang movie. Like, all of the script elements are there for it to be very Fritz Lang-y, but it just feels like maybe studio interference or something made it a lot more toned down than it should have been. Yeah, no, it wasn't very good. It had a lot of solid noir stuff. But other than that, like, the filmmaking is still good. It's Fritz Lang. He knows how to make a movie. But from a script perspective, all the characters are pretty boring. A lot of its narrative tension is really just not there when they're not in actual physical danger. Yeah, I had quite a few problems with it.
And I'm sure that's only worsened by the fact that it's all a dream.
Exactly, yeah, and it's all a dream, which I don't know. I don't mind that ending. It was fun, I guess, but, like, it doesn't really vastly change my opinion on a lot of the stuff earlier in the movie, so.
But then we watched cinema.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
But then we watched
We did watch cinema. I just got a hankering for some cinema, so we watched
We
the cinema.
rewatched Speed Racer.
Yes.
It was my first rewatch, so it was the second time I had seen it.
The Wachowskis' 2008 Speed Racer.
And man, is Speed Racer so good.
It has finally re-entered my top 4 favorites of all time.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
I get chills from so much
sensational.
of the movie. It's genuinely so. I mean, I grew up on Speed Racer for the most part. It wasn't like a huge part of my childhood, but I read the books. I watched some of the anime. I played the games. I
only played the game.
And it's very nostalgic, but at the same time, they took that series and that world that seems kind of crazy to even dream to adapt to live action.
To live action, yeah. The fact that this is live action is insane to me.
And they do it in such an insanely good way.
Yeah, no.
I give it 5
We could do a whole
stars.
episode on Speed Racer. I think it's kind of like a transcendent piece of media in a visual sense. Like, everything that I love about movies is kind of here and amazing.
Its energy is at like 1,000,002.
I was about to say, I want to be an editor and a cinematographer, and the editing and cinematography in this are, like, groundbreakingly good. I don't understand how they did it.
I put in my review Mad Max Fury Road's silly nephew.
It really is. Yeah, no, the comedy's great, the characters are great, the filmmaking's great. I definitely highly recommend Speed Racer. Very good stuff. I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Then I rewatched Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead.
Yes.
It's got Gary Oldman
Indeed
and
they
Tim
are.
Roth. Very, very weird movie, but I wanted to rewatch it, and I still really enjoyed it. Robbie walked in while I was watching it. And just said freaking theater kids.
Micah, it's just a gay theater kid buddy comedy.
It's just a gay theater kid buddy comedy. It's all it is. And like I said, I quoted that in my review and put fair enough, because that's the most accurate review you could say for it.
It really is.
I gave it 4 stars, though I very much enjoy it.
Yeah, I remember it being pretty good. I caught like one scene of it.
I think the concept itself is just so cool. Like having characters, like weird side characters of a Shakespeare play, be like aware that they're a thing outside of Shakespeare, and they keep popping around to the different scenes they're required for, and just like spewing out their lines.
Pretty good, I say.
And then also on the 29th, we watched the Bogart suspense picture with the surprise finish.
He's reading the poster right now.
The poster is so ugly.
It really is. It's kind of a terrible poster.
In a lonely place.
In a lonely place, yes. Nicholas Ray, baby.
Humphrey Bogart.
We're out here.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Not quite. I said in my review, it's very, very good, but not quite as good as another 50s film that is about a screenwriter, Micah.
That is true, depending on which one you're talking about.
I'm talking about Sunset Boulevard, of course, Micah.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there another 50s movie? Or like I was talking specifically 1950, like the year.
Oh, 1950.
I did say 50s, but I misspoke, Micah. Yeah, Sunset Boulevard.
I guess Sunset Boulevard's better. I'm just not a big fan.
Mike is like, oh, one of the best noirs ever made. I guess it's all right.
In a Lonely Place was a lot of fun, though.
It is, yeah.
The main character, I think it was the only time I've actively liked a Humphrey Bogart character. I'm just not a Humphrey Bogart fan.
You should check out Casablanca sometime, Micah. You really should. I think you might like it, actually.
I don't know. I'm just not a Humphrey Bogart fan, but I like this character in this a lot.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was fun. I gave it 4 stars.
I gave it a 4.5. I thought it was really great.
Then we watched the hit "Sing to Your Razor Blades" movie, Sweeney Todd,
Are there
the
multiple
Demon
sing-
Barber of Fleet Street.
Are there multiple movies where people sing to razor blades?
I don't know. The Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter one.
Sweeney Todd, baby.
And it was a lot of fun. But
It
it's
really was.
so weird.
It really
Because
is.
you have like a weird, your base material is a very weird comedy Broadway show. Written by, what's his face? I forget his name. He's a very distinct style. He wrote Into the Woods.
Very much.
He wrote Sweeney Todd. He is a style. You have this man's show, and then you take that to the weirdest director possible. Casts an entire cast of non-singing people. And like, it's just so weird. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of fun.
And I'm glad it was rated R.
Yes. This would have sucked.
The gore is fun.
I was about to say this would have been a lot less fun if it was PG-13 in reality.
But it's just so funny watching because it feels like it's trying to play it straight but also be a comedy. Like it knows
It's so weird.
It knows it's funny, but it's also like from a character standpoint playing it straight.
Yeah, it's really odd in so many ways, but I really enjoyed it.
I just think it's almost mesmerizing to watch.
It's got such a stilted energy, but somehow still works.
Yeah, I think its biggest problem, like, and if you were going to sum up its problems, is that its energy is just kind of... It has no momentum.
It's kind of tripping up the stairs kind of energy is what it is.
Yeah. But no, I still really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5.
I also gave it a 3.5.
Then on the 1st, we watched Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass.
Then also on the 1st, but late enough that it was the 2nd, we watched What's Up, Doc, a rewatch.
Yeah.
1970s screwball comedy.
Yeah.
Very fun. We
Childhood
I was
classic,
about to say we
Micah.
kind of grew up on this movie.
Kind of grew up on it. Who'd have thunk it?
It's really funny. I was worried.
I definitely recommend it.
I was worried it wasn't going to be funny.
Yeah,
because
me
we hadn't
too.
seen it in like 5 years.
Yeah.
But it was really fun.
It was very, very funny. Surprisingly good fourth wall breaks too.
Hey, and apparently our cousin who hadn't logged it before really likes it.
Hey, there you go.
He gave it a 4.5.
Wait, is he actually active on Letterboxd again? Yeah.
He got a profile picture.
Yeah, he's got a new profile picture.
I mean, I still don't think he's like logged.
I love how we're like
diary
keeping
and
him anonymous. He's Zack. He was on our Spider-Man episode and the Knives Out episode if you want to go back and listen to those.
Yeah.
Very good movie. I like it. I like it a lot.
Gave it 4.5.
I give it a 4. I believe it lacks a lot in many of its pacing areas.
Funny movie, funny.
Funny movie is funny.
And then,
Haha.
and on the third, we watched The Sixth Sense.
Whoa.
The Shyamalan.
Do I have to watch the other 5 senses to get this one, guys?
Yes. It's been a bit since I watched it. It was nice to rewatch. It's still a fun movie.
Yeah, very
it's still
fun,
not 100% like I like. I do usually just have a kind of something against M. Night Shyamalan's direction style and writing style.
I think it works really well.
But
here.
I think this is one of the best instances of it working.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I got no problem.
It's a solid thriller. I'll say it.
I give it 4 stars. I'll stand by that. It's really fun.
I still think it kind of is like I get like this energy from Shyamalan films a lot, where it's just like while they were making it, they were like, "Oh man, this is so cool." Energy.
Did you watch the behind
I was about to say, watching
thing?
the behind the scenes kind of confirmed that.
I think Shyamalan thought this was like a divine movie for the fact that like everything just like worked out for it.
Yeah.
And like they're talking about it like it's a grand spiritual experience, and I'm like, it's a fun movie.
It's a good movie. I don't know. The child acting is surprisingly great in it.
Dude, the child acting.
What's up with that?
Outstanding.
I didn't think children could act.
Tommy Tomasino, that commercial, cinema. If it was just that commercial, it would have been a 5 out of 5.
The cough syrup commercial was so good. Yeah, no, it's a great movie. The twist is still really great at the end of it. Yeah, and not to mention a lot of the technical stuff. I always wondered why the atmosphere was so like unsettling for a majority of the movie, and then we watched the behind the scenes stuff.
And they say some pretty cool things.
Yeah, I was about to say
the way it was made, like
the way they designed a lot of the ambient noise, and it was very cool.
You get that kind of they thought it was super cool, but at the same time, there is a lot of craft put behind it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's a really well crafted thriller. Some of its other elements don't work as well, but like. It is really cool, and a lot of the technical stuff that they achieve in it is very cool as well.
Then, because it was October 3rd...
It's October 3rd.
We watched Mean Girls.
Mean Girls, baby.
Which is always just a super fun movie.
One of my favorite comedies.
Like, it's just good. I don't have too much to comment on it. It's hilarious. The performances are outstanding. It's really, really surprisingly well written.
Yes, it is.
What the heck are you doing, Tina Fey?
What was Tina Fey good writer, question mark? How did it happen?
Yeah, no, it's just like, I don't know.
If anyone says women aren't funny, show them this movie.
Right, show them
That's what I'm saying.
And Hot Rod.
Hot Rod also, yes. Because that was actually directed by a woman,
outstanding comedies written and this one's
I was about to say, this one's directed by Mark Waters, unfortunately.
Yeah, Mark Waters, too. We watched several other Mark Waters movies since the last time we watched this.
Yikes.
And yikes.
Yeah, this is definitely his best one.
He did He's All That.
Yikes. But yeah, Mean Girls, fantastic. I love it.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. Good stuff. Great stuff, even.
Great stuff, even.
What? But yeah, that's what we watched since Over the Garden Wall. We're getting spooky over here on Recently Long.
Spooky season, October. Spooky. We promised that we were going to do Beetlejuice at some point this season, so we're going to do that at some point.
I thought you said Beetlejuice, like Beale Street. I'm like, what?
But we'll do Beetlejuice at some point.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Another Tim Burton off the list.
I'm really hungry, so wrap it up.
Okay. Thank you for listening. Go watch Midnight Mass. It's very, very good.
You missed watching Mean Girls on October 3rd. If you didn't do it, doom on you. Go watch.
Go watch Mean Girls right now. Anyway.
Go watch Speed Racer.
Go watch Speed Racer. Oh my gosh.
Midnight Mass, all that stuff.
Go do it. Have a good week. We'll catch you next time.
And I'm gonna go get some food.
I'm also kind of hungry. Need to go upstairs and watch something and eat.
I'm really hungry.
Munch.
So munch and stop the recording.
Okay.